Hello and welcome back to another episode of Grace Daily. This is episode 5 and we're glad to have you joining us this morning. Today our text will be taken from chapter 1 verse 10 of Philippians, and the Bible tells us this: that you may approve things that are excellent, that you may be sincere and without offense till the day of Christ. Today we're going to be taking that phrase, sincere and without offense, and I think it will be an encouragement to you. I had a professor in college one time who insisted that for a simple quiz, we studied for at least 2 hours. And for one of his tests, we would study for a minimum of 4 hours. Admittedly, I never did very well in his classes. In our textbook, there are these pages that would just have like one picture on the whole page, and at the bottom it would have a very tiny subscript. And there were occasions where he would ask questions about that subscript, and we would have to try to get it right. And admittedly, I never made a 100, or I never really was concerned about making a 100 in his class. I just wanted to pass it. Any passing grade was fine so that I could just get done with it. But the sad thing is that's how many Christians feel about the Christian life and how we're going to end up when we meet Jesus. We feel that we mess up so much right now that there's no way that we're going to have any commendation when we get into heaven. We're just going to be happy. We think we're going to just be happy that if we get to heaven, we're going to hear, well, at least you believed on Jesus Christ, so I guess we'll let you in, But Paul has better news for us today. And in the closing part of his opening greetings to this passage, verses 1 through 11 that we've been looking at this week, and we will look at on Sunday a little more in depth, Paul lets us in on a prayer that he's been praying for the Philippians, and that can give us encouragement today. Paul prays that they will be ilakrinos kai aposkopoi, okay? So let's be grateful that we just speak English and Chukis. Chukis was hard enough for me. I think Greek would have been even harder, okay? But in other words, what he's saying there, he wants us to be sincere and without offense. So let's break that down. First, though, let's back up a couple of words to the verb. Paul says that ye may be. And in the Greek, this is what we would call a present subjunctive. It means that right now, in this moment, we have the potential to be sincere and without offense. And this is good news. But what does it mean to be sincere, and why is that potential good? We have the potential to become millionaires today, but that won't happen for probably most of us. So what good is potential, and how can that help us in all of this? Well, let's look at it a little bit more then. To be sincere, this word is ilakrinos, and it's used only 2 times in the New Testament, but the meaning of it is very beautiful, very rich. And according to a guy named Bill Mounts, he's a very smart Greek grammarian, okay? He says that it gives the idea of something being viewed in the sunshine and still being found clean and pure. My friends, guess who's the morning star? It's Jesus Christ, and we're being viewed in light of him, and he still says that we can be found pure, sincere. Then we have the word apokrypos, and this is the word that translates to without offense, or another way to put it is blameless. So definitions are good, but it's kind of like having only a skeleton, right? We need to have flesh and muscle if we're going to actually have a functioning body. So here's what we know. Paul is praying with a true hope, and he's informing us that there is a real possibility of us being pure and blameless on the day of Jesus Christ. But how do we do this? We skip down to verse 11, and it says that we must be filled with the fruits of righteousness. And where do those come from? Keep looking in verse 11, and you'll find the answer. They come from Jesus Christ. My friends, when life equals Christ, and we are simply abiding in him, this is how we are able to be pure and blameless before God. There isn't a special formula or a special ritual that we perform for this to happen, but it simply happens on a day-by-day basis as we yield to Jesus and allow him to rule over us. As we become slaves to Christ, as we partake with him and fellowship with him in the gospel, as we seek after a gospel-oriented life, we become sincere and blameless. My friends, Christ is our perfection for us. And today, when we simply abide in him, this is what I try to do. And I'm not perfect at doing this every day. I wish I could say I was, but just to give you some meat on the bone, something to help you with. There's, again, no formula that makes it magically happen, but in the morning, oftentimes I can just say, Jesus, I come to you and I need you today. And I'm just simply relying on him. And that's what it means to be sincere and blameless, allowing him to fill us with his fruit so that we can be sincere and blameless, pure and blameless on the day of Jesus Christ because of his power. Grace and peace, my friends.